How's it going, everybody? In this video, we're going to go ahead and kick off the install of our Firepower Threat Defense device and go through the process of how that actually works. I'll get the initial pieces started for it, and then we'll go through the actual bootstrapping later on to get the actual FTD1 to join the FMC and all that good stuff. So let's take a look at those bits right now. So fortunately, all I have to do is right click on this guy and click on Start. It's going to go ahead and go through the startup process. I'm going to click on this guy and it's going to open up a VNC connection. I open up this VNC connection, and after a couple of seconds it's going to go through the boot up process, and then it's going to be off to the races. So that's pretty much the beginning portion of how this process works. And once this process starts off, it's got to go through an install process. It's not like the ASA install process. There's an actual install. An operating system has to get installed on a hard drive, so on and so forth. It's kind of it can be a lengthy implementation, but once it's done, it's pretty straightforward, because now all you have to do is wait for it to be finished, and then it'll be off to the races. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I will stop the video, and then once we're at the part where we actually get to bootstrap the device, then we'll be in good shape. So our FTD device is ready to go. It's been booted up. It's actually been up for a while. So in order to log in, we have to type in admin and then admin again, admin123. So capital A D M I N 123, and we're going to be able to log in. Now there's a couple things we're going to have to go through here in the process of setting this stuff up. So it says you must accept the end user license agreement. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And then I'm going to hit Q to go to the very bottom. I'm just going to hit enter to agree. And then we have to create a new password. I'm going to type in capital P @SSW0RD, and then capital P @SSW0RD. And that will be sufficient enough for logging into the FTD device the way we are. It says, do you want to configure IPv4? We're going to go ahead and say yes. The Y in brackets right here is going to be an indication that that's what we need to do. I'm going to hit yes. We do not want to do IPv6 for right now. And then we're going to use a manual configuration. The IP address of this guy is going to be 10.255.1.62. /24 mask is fine. And then 10.255.1.1. And the FQDN of this guy is going to be ftd1.sn.com. And it's asking if I want to use the SourceFire NTP and DNS, or Cisco DNS and Cisco Umbrella. I'm going to use that. I'm not going to use a comma separated value or anything like that. And it's going to look for, it's going to go ahead and change the networking configuration. Now the next step is going to be that, do we want to manually, or I'm sorry, manage the device locally? We're going to type in no. You can do that. It's not terribly difficult to do, but we're not going to do that. Go ahead and get rid of those entries. Yes. Oh. I can fix that. That's actually relatively easy to do. I have done this in the past by accident. And once it's done doing its thing, then you just have to tell it configure manager, and it'll point you to the correct place to point yourself. So it's done its first boot. And so now we have to do, if we do a show managers, what it should show is no managers have been configured. Since this is managed locally, so if we type in configure manager add and we type in 10.255.1.61, we're going to have to specify a registration key. I'm just going to type in FTD1 and hit the enter key. That will flip it over from a manually, or I should say locally managed device to a managed device via FTD, or the FMC. So here it says, if you enabled any featured licenses, you must disable them in the Firepower Device Manager before deleting the local manager. Otherwise, those licenses Licenses remain assigned to the device in Cisco's smart software. Do you want to continue? Yes. Please answer yes or no. So yes. So we want to flip over and make the FMC our manager, because we want to manage this thing through the FMC. You're going to have a lot more capabilities available through the FMC than you will through the Firepower Device Manager, and that's why we want to go that direction. So it's going to go ahead and go through that process. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while that's happening, and then we'll bring you guys back in. So it says now that the manager is successfully configured, we're going to do a show managers. And right now what we're going to see is that there won't be any. It says pending. So that means we'll have to pull up the FMC. And then we're going to have to go to devices, to device management. And then once we have device management, we'll be brought to that page here in just a moment. It's loading page data. So what we'll have to do, first and foremost, is go through the process of joining a device. Now, joining a device actually isn't very difficult to do. There's a few steps that we need to be aware of. So I'm going to go actually to somewhere else and create a policy for us to join the FMC with, because that will be called upon when we go to add a device. So I'm going to go over here to Policies, Access Control Policies, and Access Control Policy. I'm going to click on New Policy. The name of the policy is going to be AC Policy, and then it's going to be a Network Discovery Policy, and I'm going to click on Save. I don't want to block traffic. I just want to discover traffic. So once that's done being created, which now we have, so the AC policy or access control policy, that'll be squared away here in just a moment. There it is. So now I get to go back over to devices, device management, and then I'm going to go to, as soon as it's done loading, I'm going to go to add and device. The host name is, or the host is the IP address. I'm going to type in 10.255.1.62. And the display name is going to be FTD1. The registration key is going to be FTD1. And the group is none. The access control policy, I knew that ahead of time, so I created one. And the licensing that we're going to throw at it is going to be malware, threat, and URL filtering. And we're going to go ahead and click on register. So if we go back over to our console here for the FTD, we can see that if we do a show interfaces IP brief, we're going to see that no IP address is listed, right? It's a little disconcerting. So if we do a show run, it goes by so fast you can't really see it. So I'm actually going to go ahead and close this out. And what I would normally do is on this page right here, I would have some of these other devices turned on. So notice how it says VNC down here in the lower left hand corner. What I can do to say R3, for example, is I can go ahead and, let me go ahead and launch a new instance of Secure CRT so we can keep all these separate. I've got other labs going on as well. So what I can do is I can go ahead and right click on R3 and start it. And then I can click on here and go to Open Secure CRT application. It's going to go ahead and do that. And then I can go and click in here to Quick Connect and type in 10.255.1.62. 22, the username is going to be admin. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Connect. And then I should be, oh, that's because it's a secure CRT thing. Okay, not a big deal. I will work on that though. So I will have to open up a separate connection for that. Let me go back to this guy. So right now we're adding the FTD1. It did connect, and if we look at the the more output we're doing, the base, the threat, the malware, the URL filtering, all that stuff is coming through. So that's basically what we need to be aware of. And it's going to go through the process of registration. This process takes a little bit, so let's be cognizant of that. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the dark reader. Okay, staring at a black background or staring at a white background is not cool for me. So that's going to make my job a lot easier. And so what we'll have to do is click up here on this guy right here, and we're going to see what's tasks it's currently discovering and stuff like that. So it's at 50%. It'll take a little while for this to happen. Once it's been discovered and complete, then we'll be able to move into the next step, which is going to be getting the initial configuration started. So if I look back at Secure CRT for router 3, for example, router 3 is also booting, and that will I'll go ahead and I'll finish the boot process for those guys, and then we'll be able to start configuring and getting devices added and things like that. So I'm going to pause the video while this is happening, and we'll get the party started. So after probably 20 minutes or so, just to guess, we finally have the FTD device has now been officially added to the FMC to where we can actually do something with it. So if I was to go start doing something with it, I'd have to click on this little edit button here, and then we can start monkeying around with how the FMC actually works, or the FTD works. So that would require some manipulation and stuff like that, which we'll be taking care of in upcoming videos where I actually walk you through the step-by-step processes and stuff like that. But this is just to get the FTD device installed, configured to add it to the FMC, and all that type of stuff. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with me in this video, and until next time, take it easy.